July 25th, 1956, the Copacabana, New York City. The hottest nightclub in America is packed wall to wall. Cigarette smoke hangs thick in the air. Champagne corks pop like distant gunfire. Every table is full. Every seat is taken. People stand 3 deep at the bar just to catch a glimpse of the stage. They all know what tonight is. The end of an era, the final performance of Martin and Lewis, the most successful comedy team in American history. Dean Martin stands backstage, black tuxedo, perfect bow tie, hair slicked back like polished obsidian. He stares at himself in the mirror. His face shows nothing, absolutely nothing. 10 years of partnership end tonight. 10 years of films and shows and sold-out crowds. 10 years of being called the handsome one while Jerry got all the credit. Tonight, it ends, and Dean Martin feels nothing at all. Jerry Lewis bursts through the door. His eyes are red. His hands are shaking. He has been crying for an hour. "Dino, please, we don't have to do this. We can work it out. We can fix whatever's broken." Dean doesn't turn around. He adjusts his cufflinks in the mirror. Click, click. His voice is ice. "There's nothing to fix, Jerry. It's over. It's been over for a long time. We just didn't know it. But I need you. The act needs you. I can't do this alone." Dean finally turns. His eyes meet Jerry's. For one moment, something flickers there. Pain, regret, love. Then the mask slides back into place. "You've been doing it alone for years, pal. You just let me stand next to you while you did it." He walks past Jerry without another word. Out the door, down the hallway, toward the stage, toward the end of everything they built together. And what happened after the final curtain fell would haunt both men for the next 20 years. To understand why Dean Martin walked away that night, you need to understand how it all began. You need to go back to a summer night in 1946, when 2 nobodies met in a club called the 500 Club in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Dean Martin was 29 years old, a singer from Steubenville, Ohio, who couldn't get arrested in this town. He had changed his name from Dino because Italian names didn't sell tickets. He had fixed his nose because casting directors said it was too big. He had worked every dive bar and 2-bit club on the East Coast. Nothing stuck. Nothing worked. He was thinking about quitting, going back to Ohio, getting a real job. Jerry Lewis was 20 years old, a skinny Jewish kid from Newark with a rubber face and endless energy. He did a record act where he mimed to phonograph records. It was moderately funny. It paid the bills, barely. He was hungry and ambitious and desperate for something bigger. He just didn't know what that something was. They met backstage at the 500 Club on a humid July night. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and desperation. Dean was the singer. Jerry was the comic. They were booked on the same bill but had never spoken. Both men were sweating through their suits. Both men were wondering if this was the end of the road. The club owner, Skinny D'Amato, a connected man with kind eyes, introduced them in the cramped dressing room. "You two should talk. You're both dying out there. Maybe together you'll only be half dead." It was true. Neither act was working that week. The crowd was drunk and hostile. Jersey Shore tourists who wanted girls and gambling, not entertainment. Dean's smooth ballads put them to sleep. His crooning style felt old-fashioned to a crowd that wanted excitement. Jerry's mime act confused them completely. A skinny kid pretending to be a record player, what was the point? They were both bombing, separately, spectacularly. That night, out of desperation, they decided to try something different. They went on stage together. No script, no plan, pure chaos. Jerry interrupted Dean's songs. Dean insulted Jerry's face. They threw food at each other. They broke dishes. They argued like an old married couple. The audience didn't know what was happening. Neither did Dean and Jerry. But somewhere in that chaos, magic was born. The crowd exploded, laughter like thunder, applause like rain, standing ovations that wouldn't stop. By the end of the night, Martin and Lewis had been born, and nothing would ever be the same. Here's what nobody understood about their chemistry. Dean was the cool one, the unflappable straight man who reacted to Jerry's insanity with bemused detachment. He was the anchor, the calm in the storm, the grown-up in the room. Without Dean's stillness, Jerry's chaos had no contrast, no meaning. Jerry was the wild one, the child who never grew up, the explosion of energy that needed Dean's gravity to stay grounded. Without Dean's reaction, Jerry was just noise, just movement without purpose. Together, they were perfect. The yin and yang of American comedy, the father and son, the id and the ego. They needed each other like oxygen needs fire. And for 10 years, they burned brighter than anyone in show business. The numbers were staggering. 16 films, hundreds of television appearances, thousands of live shows. They were the highest paid act in Las Vegas. They were the biggest box office draw in Hollywood. They made more money than most small countries. But here's the twist that poisoned everything. The world saw Jerry, only Jerry. The press wrote about Jerry Lewis and his partner. Critics praised Jerry Lewis and the other one. Magazine covers featured Jerry's face. Dean was cropped out, pushed to the side, reduced to a footnote in his own success story. One review cut Dean to the bone. He never forgot it. Jerry Lewis is a comic genius. Dean Martin is merely handsome furniture. Furniture! The word burned in his chest like acid. He had given 10 years of his life to this partnership. He had sacrificed his solo career, his identity, his sense of self, and the world saw him as furniture. Dean never said anything. That wasn't his way. He swallowed the pain. He smiled for the cameras. He played the role of the happy partner. But inside, something was dying. Something was turning cold and hard. Jerry didn't notice. He couldn't notice. He was too busy being the star, too busy accepting the praise, too busy believing he was the talent and Dean was the vessel. He loved Dean. He genuinely loved him. But love doesn't mean you see someone clearly. Sometimes love makes you blind. What happened next was inevitable. By 1955, Dean had stopped talking to Jerry off stage. They performed together. They smiled for publicity photos. But the moment the cameras stopped rolling, Dean disappeared. He played golf alone. He ate dinner alone. He existed in a bubble of silence that Jerry couldn't penetrate. "What's wrong, Dino?" Jerry would ask. "What did I do?" Dean would shrug. "Nothing, pal. Everything's fine." But everything wasn't fine. And everyone around them knew it. The crew knew it. The directors knew it. The studio executives whispered about it in corner offices. Martin and Lewis were falling apart. The only question was when. The final straw came in early 1956. Dean walked into a newsstand and saw a magazine cover. Jerry's face filled the frame. The headline read, "Jerry Lewis and His Stooge." Stooge. Dean bought the magazine. He took it home. He sat in his living room and stared at that word for an hour. Stooge. 20 years later, he would still remember that afternoon. The way the sunlight fell through the windows. The way his coffee went cold in his cup. The way that single word rewrote everything he thought he knew about his life. He picked up the phone and called his lawyer. "Get me out of the contract. I don't care what it costs. Get me out." The split was announced in June 1956. NBC offered them separate deals, $5 million each. Dean said yes immediately. Jerry begged him to reconsider, called him every day, showed up at his house, wrote letters that went unanswered, but Dean was done. The wall was up. The mask was permanent. July 25th, 1956, the Copacabana, the final show. 10 years to the day since they first performed together. The dressing room was silent except for the muffled roar of the crowd outside. Dean adjusted his bow tie in the mirror. Jerry paced behind him like a caged animal. Neither spoke. The air between them was thick with everything left unsaid. They walked to the stage together, side by side, one last time. The spotlight hit them like a wave of heat. They performed like the professionals they were. Every joke landed perfectly. Every song soared to the rafters. The timing was immaculate. The chemistry was undeniable. The audience laughed and cried and gave them everything they had. Martin and Lewis at their absolute peak, their absolute best. Nobody watching could have guessed that these two men hadn't spoken a real word to each other in weeks. Nobody could have known that this was not a performance. It was a funeral. The final number was their signature song, a duet about partnership and loyalty and friendship that lasts forever. Jerry's voice cracked on the second verse. Tears streamed down his face, cutting lines through his makeup. He wasn't acting. This was real grief pouring out of him in real time. The audience could feel it. Dean kept singing, his voice steady as a metronome, his face calm as a frozen lake. The mask held firm. Whatever he was feeling stayed locked inside, where nobody could see it. The curtain fell. The applause was deafening. 5 minutes of standing ovation. Dean took his bow. Then he walked off stage. He didn't look at Jerry. He didn't say goodbye. Jerry ran after him down the hallway, calling his name. "Dino, please don't do this. Don't leave like this." Dean kept walking. His shoes clicked against the linoleum. Click, click, click. He pushed through the backstage door into the New York night. He got into a waiting car. He drove away. He didn't look back, not once. And for 20 years, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis did not speak a single word to each other. Here's what those 20 years looked like from Dean's side of the wall. Dean reinvented himself completely, methodically, like a man rebuilding a house that had burned down. He became a movie star on his own terms. Serious roles, comedy roles, westerns with John Wayne, spy films as Matt Helm. He recorded hit albums that went gold and platinum. Songs like "Everybody Loves Somebody" knocked the Beatles off the top of the charts. He became the host of a television variety show that ran for 9 years on NBC. He became a member of the Rat Pack with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. He proved every critic wrong. He was not furniture. He was not a stooge. He was not the other one. He was Dean Martin, the king of cool. And Dean Martin was more than enough. The success was the best revenge. Every magazine cover with his face alone, every sold-out show in Vegas, every #1 record, each one was a silent message to everyone who had doubted him. To Jerry, to the critics, to the world, "I am somebody without you." Jerry suffered, not professionally. His career remained wildly successful. His films made money. His telethon raised millions. But personally, emotionally, he never recovered from losing Dean. He talked about his former partner constantly in interviews, obsessively. He kept photographs of them together in every room of his house. He sent Christmas cards every single year to Dean's home address. Dean never responded, never acknowledged receiving them. The silence was absolute and merciless. People asked Dean about Jerry. He changed the subject, or he gave the same answer every time. That's ancient history. I don't live in the past, but the past lived in him. Some wounds never heal. Some silences speak louder than words. What nobody knew was that Dean followed Jerry's career from a distance. He watched his films. He read his reviews. He knew about every success and every failure. He just refused to reach out. The wall was too high. The hurt was too deep. Pride is a prison that looks like protection. Then came September 6th, 1976, a Monday night, Labor Day, the night everything changed. the MDA Labor Day Telethon, Jerry's annual charity marathon to fight muscular dystrophy. 21 hours of live television. Millions of Americans watched every year. Celebrities called in donations. Singers performed. Comedians told jokes. It was Jerry's moment, his chance to do something meaningful with his fame. His annual reminder that show business could be about more than ego. Every year, Dean didn't call, didn't contribute, didn't acknowledge it existed. The silence on Labor Day was always the loudest. This year was different. Frank Sinatra had a plan. Frank Sinatra had a plan. He didn't tell Dean what he was doing. He didn't ask permission. He just did it, because that was Frank. He fixed things, whether people wanted them fixed or not. At 11:47 p.m., Frank walked onto the telethon stage. The audience went wild. Jerry embraced him, two old friends. The camera loved it. Then Frank leaned into the microphone. "I have a friend who wants to come out and say hello to you, Jer." Jerry's face showed confusion. Then the curtain moved, and Dean Martin walked onto the stage. 20 years of silence ended in a single moment. Jerry froze. His mouth fell open. His eyes filled with tears. He couldn't speak. He couldn't move. He just stood there, staring at the man who had walked away from him 2 decades ago. Dean walked toward him, slowly. His face was soft. The mask was gone. For the first time in 20 years, he looked like the old Dean. The Dean before the hurt. The Dean who used to laugh. They embraced. Right there, on national television, 45 million Americans watched two old men hold each other and cry. 1 minute, 2 minutes. The audience sobbed. The orchestra didn't know what to play. The telethon staff wiped their eyes. Jerry pulled back first. He looked at Dean. His voice was barely a whisper. "You son of a bitch, why did you wait so long?" Dean's answer was pure Dean. "I didn't want to interrupt your act." The audience exploded. Jerry laughed through his tears. For one perfect moment, it was 1946 again. Two nobodies in Atlantic City, making magic out of nothing. But here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. The truth that both men took to their graves. The reunion didn't fix anything. Not really. Dean and Jerry spoke after that night. They talked on the phone occasionally. Awkward conversations that trailed off into silence. They had dinner a few times over the years. Polite meals where neither man said what he was really thinking. Jerry invited Dean to charity events. Dean sometimes showed up, sometimes didn't. But the old partnership was gone forever. The chemistry had faded like old photographs. They were two old men who shared a history, not two friends who shared a future. The hurt was too deep. 20 years had passed. They had become different people. You can forgive someone completely and still not want them back in your life. You can love someone from the bottom of your heart and still keep them at arm's length. Dean understood this painful truth. Jerry never did. Jerry never could. Jerry talked about Dean until the day he died in 2017. In every interview, in every memoir, he called Dean the love of his life. He said walking away was Dean's greatest gift because it forced Jerry to grow up. He said he never stopped missing his partner. Dean rarely mentioned Jerry. When he did, it was casual, distant. "My old partner. Not my friend, not my brother. Old partner, past tense, filed away." Dean Martin died on Christmas Day, 1995, alone in his Beverly Hills home. The television was playing old westerns. Jerry was not at the funeral. He said later that he couldn't face it, couldn't bear to say goodbye to Dean a second time, couldn't watch them put his partner in the ground. "I already lost him once," Jerry said in an interview years later, his voice breaking. "I couldn't lose him again." There is a lesson in this story, one that neither man would have spoken aloud, but both understood in their bones. Some relationships cannot survive success. The very thing that brings people together becomes the thing that tears them apart. Dean and Jerry needed each other to become stars, but stardom itself created a hierarchy. One name above the other, one face on the magazine, one genius and one stooge. Dean's wound was simple. He wanted to be seen, not as half of something, as himself. Jerry's love was genuine but blind. He couldn't see what he was doing because he didn't know he was doing it. The tragedy is that both men were right, and both men were wrong, and both men spent 20 years paying for a problem that a single honest conversation might have solved. But honest conversations were not the Martin way. Dean hid behind masks. Jerry hid behind jokes. Neither man knew how to say, "You're hurting me. Please stop." So Dean walked away, because walking away was the only language he knew. July 25th, 1956. Click, click, click. Footsteps down a hallway, a door swinging closed, a car pulling away into the New York night. The end of something irreplaceable. Some goodbyes last 20 years. Some wounds never heal. And some partnerships shine so bright that even their destruction leaves light in the sky. Martin and Lewis. 10 years of magic, 20 years of silence, 1 minute of embrace, and a lifetime of what might have been. This is Dean Martin, The Untold Legacy. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who understands that sometimes love isn't enough. And subscribe, because in our next video, we reveal how Dean Martin stood up to racist casino owners for Sammy Davis Jr. and changed Las Vegas forever. Until then, keep swinging, Polly.